Arabian Sea, April 13, 2024. Local time 0317. 17 Iranian fast attack boats. 89 Revolutionary Guard naval commandos. 12 nautical miles from the USS Bataan amphibious assault ship. When the Iranian swarm appeared on radar that morning, the plan was simple. Overwhelm the American ship with numbers, force it to retreat, prove that the Persian Gulf belongs to Iran. The attack would last 8 minutes, long enough to create an international incident, short enough to avoid total destruction. But what the Iranians didn't know was that the US Navy had spent 3 years preparing for exactly this scenario. And the next 8 minutes wouldn't be a battle. It would be a demonstration. The USS Bataan, LHD-5, was conducting routine operations in international waters. Displacement 4,500 tons. Crew 12. Weapons: rolling airframe missiles, Sea Sparrow missiles, Phalanx CIWS, and 50 caliber machine guns. But the real capability was what sat on the deck: 4 MH-60S Seahawk helicopters, each equipped with a new weapons system that had never been used in combat. Advanced Precision Kill Weapon System, APKWS, laser-guided 70mm rockets, designed specifically for small boat threats. Cost per rocket $27,000. A fraction of larger missiles, but deadly accurate against fast attack boats. Captain Sarah Chen had been briefed on Iranian tactics 3 months earlier. They'll come in swarms, 15-20 boats, high-speed approach from multiple vectors. They'll try to close the distance before you can engage effectively. What's our engagement protocol? Chen had asked. New rules of engagement. Any hostile fast attack boat within 10 nautical miles gets 1 warning. After that, we engage with APKWS. We've stopped playing games with these guys, he said. The policy shift had been taken from the Pentagon after years of Iranian harassment, after dozens of close calls after the Red Sea drone crisis showed the cost of restraint. The decision was finally made. No more accepting provocations, no more allowing Iranian boats to approach unopposed. The Navy would defend its ships aggressively. At 0315, the Bataan's radar detected multiple surface targets, departing Iranian waters. Range 28 nautical miles, speed 45 knots, bearing directly toward the Bataan. The radar operator counted them as they appeared. 17 targets. High speed. Formation suggests coordinated attack. Captain Chen activated general quarters. All hands to battle stations. This is not a drill. Prepare to defend the ship. Within 90 seconds, the Bataan transformed to combat readiness. The 4 MH-60S helicopters on deck were manned and engines started. Weapons systems activated. Defensive positions established. Chen transmitted on international maritime frequency. Iranian vessels. This is U.S. Navy Warship Bataan. You are approaching a U.S. military vessel in international waters. Alter your course immediately or you will be engaged. No response. The boats continued closing. 25 nautical miles, 22 nautical miles, 20 nautical miles. Chen gave the order. Launch the Seahawks, weapons free at 10 nautical miles. The 4 helicopters lifted off the deck, climbed to 800 feet, spread into a defensive perimeter around the Bataan. Each helicopter carried 7 APKWS rockets, 28 precision-guided weapons total, against 17 Iranian boats. The math overwhelmingly favored the Americans. Lieutenant Marcus Webb piloted the lead Seahawk. He'd trained with APKWS for 6 months, fired dozens in practice, but never in combat. This is Viper 1, he transmitted. I have visual on the Iranian boats. 17 targets. They're in attack formation. The Iranian boats were running at maximum speed, creating massive wakes, bouncing across the waves. Each boat carried 5 to 6 Revolutionary Guard personnel, armed with RPGs and machine guns. The Iranian plan was classic swarm tactics: approach from multiple directions, overwhelm defenses through numbers, get close enough to fire RPGs at the ship's vulnerable points. It had worked before. In 1988, Iranian boats had damaged the USS Samuel B. Roberts with mines. In 2008, Iranian boats had harassed U.S. warships in the Strait of Hormuz. But these were different times, different rules of engagement, different weapons technology. At 12 nautical miles, Captain Chen transmitted a final warning. Iranian vessels, you are approaching our defensive perimeter. Turn away immediately or you will be fired upon. The Iranian boats didn't slow, didn't turn, kept coming. At exactly 10 nautical miles, Chen gave the authorization. All Seahawks, your weapons are free. Engage hostile boats. Lieutenant Webb locked his targeting system on the lead Iranian boat. The APKWS system calculated range, speed, wind drift. The laser designator painted the target. Viper 1 engaging. He fired. The 70mm rocket launched with a sharp crack, accelerated to 2425. The laser guidance system tracked the boat's movement, adjusted trajectory in real time. Flight time 4.2 seconds. The rocket struck the Iranian boat precisely amidships. The 70mm warhead detonated. The explosion pierced through the fiberglass hull, detonated the fuel tank. The boat disintegrated. One moment it was a functional vessel doing 45 knots. The next moment it was debris and bodies in the water. Splash 1, Webb reported. Target destroyed. The other 3 Seahawks engaged simultaneously. 7 rockets fired in the first salvo. The Iranian boats had no defense against precision-guided weapons. No countermeasures, no armor, just speed and numbers. And speed wasn't enough. The second boat exploded. Direct hit to the engine compartment. The blast threw 2 Revolutionary Guard personnel into the water. The third boat took a hit to the bow. The warhead penetrated through the hull before detonating. The boat nose down, flipped, capsized within seconds. Fourth and fifth boats destroyed in rapid succession. The Seahawks were firing methodically. Target, lock, fire, confirm, kill, move to next target. By 0319, 6 Iranian boats had been destroyed or disabled. The attack had lasted 2 minutes. The Iranian swarm was falling apart. The Iranian boat commanders realized they'd made a catastrophic error. They weren't facing machine guns and small arm. They were facing precision-guided weapons fired from helicopters they couldn't reach. Several boats broke formation, turned back toward Iranian waters, retreating at maximum speed. But Captain Chen's orders were clear. Any boat that approached within 10 nautical miles is a hostile threat. Engage until they're destroyed or surrendered. The Seahawks pursued, fired on retreating boats. The APKWS rockets had a range of 11 kilometers. The Iranian boats couldn't outrun them. 7th boat hit in the stern. Engine destroyed. Dead in the water. 8th boat tried evasive maneuvers, zigzagging. But the laser guidance system tracked every movement. The rocket adjusted course. Hit perfectly. 9th and 10th boats destroyed within 5 seconds of each other. By 0321, 11 Iranian boats had been sunk or disabled. 6 remained, all fleeing at maximum speed back toward Iranian territorial waters. The Iranian commanders aboard those boats were transmitting frantically. "We are retreating. Cease fire. We are leaving." But the Americans didn't cease fire. The rules of engagement were explicit. Hostile boats that entered the engagement zone were legitimate targets until they surrendered or were destroyed. Running away wasn't surrender. 11th boat hit, 12th boat destroyed, 13th boat disabled. 3 boats remained, still running, still transmitting desperate messages. At 0322, one of the Iranian boats stopped, dead in the water. White flag raised, crew visible on deck with hands up. Lieutenant Webb circled overhead. Viper 1. One boat has surrendered. Recommend we accept. Captain Chen made the call. Acknowledged. Cease fire on surrendered vessel. Continue engagement on fleeing boats. The last 2 boats were 8 nautical miles away, heading back to Iranian waters. Still considered hostile, the Seahawks fired their remaining APKWS rockets. Both boats were hit within seconds of each other. 14th and 15th boats destroyed. Total engagement time 6 minutes, 47 seconds. Of the 17 Iranian boats that attacked, 15 had been destroyed or disabled. One had surrendered. One had escaped back to Iranian waters. The Americans had fired 26 APKWS rockets. Cost: a fraction of the Red Sea drone defense cost. 0 American casualties. 0 damage to the Bataan. The one surrendered Iranian boat was taken under tow by U.S. Navy vessels. The 5 Revolutionary Guard personnel aboard were detained, treated for minor injuries. Interrogated, they revealed that the attack had been authorized at the highest levels of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Navy, an attempt to demonstrate the capability to threaten U.S. warships. Instead, it had demonstrated the opposite. In the water, 73 Iranian naval personnel floated in life jackets or clung to debris. U.S. helicopters conducted search and rescue operations. All survivors were recovered. 11 had died in the sinkings. The Iranian government's response was immediate and contradictory. State media initially claimed the boats were on a routine patrol. They had been massacred by American aggression. But within hours, the narrative shifted. The boats had made a navigation error, had accidentally approached the American ship. The U.S. response was disproportionate. The contradiction was obvious, but the Iranian government needed to save face domestically. While avoiding further escalation, the U.S. released video of the engagement, helicopter gun camera footage, showing the Iranian boats approaching in attack formation. The warning transmission, the precise strikes. The message was clear. They attacked. We defended. This is what happened. The video went viral. Defense analysts worldwide studied the footage. The precision of APKWS, the effectiveness of helicopter-based defense against swarm attack. The strategic lesson was profoundly instructive. The swarm tactic that Iran had refined for decades was now obsolete. Precision-guided weapons, even relatively cheap ones, could defeat numerical superiority. Iran would need to completely rethink its asymmetric naval strategy. Within a week, Iranian fast attack boat operations in the Persian Gulf dropped by 80%. The aggressive intercepts stopped. The harassment ended. The Revolutionary Guard Navy had learned that provoking American warships no longer resulted in restraint and warnings. It resulted in destruction. The cost-benefit analysis had shifted. Every boat lost was expensive to replace. Every sailor killed was a political problem. The propaganda value of standing up to America wasn't worth the actual losses. The Pentagon's policy shift had worked. Aggressive defense, backed by effective weapons and clear rules of engagement, had deterred further Iranian naval harassment. But there were broader implications. The engagement demonstrated that the U.S. Navy had adapted to asymmetric threat, had developed weapons systems specifically designed for small boat swarms, had trained crews to use them effectively. The APKWS program was expanded, more helicopters equipped, more rockets procured. The system was deployed fleet-wide. Other navies took notice. Saudi Arabia, Japan, all inquired about purchasing APKWS for their own forces. The system became a model for countering asymmetric naval threats. The Iranian survivors, when debriefed by their own commanders, described the engagement in devastating terms. We never had a chance. They hit us from beyond our weapon range. We couldn't fight back. We couldn't escape. It was slaughter. That description spread through the Revolutionary Guard Navy. The psychological impact was significant. Boat crews became reluctant to conduct aggressive operations near U.S. warship. The myth of Iranian naval superiority in Gulf waters evaporated, replaced by the reality that modern weapons technology gave conventional navies overwhelming advantages. For the U.S. Navy, the engagement validated years of planning and investment. The shift from expensive missiles to cost-effective precision rockets, the integration of helicopters into ship defense, the aggressive rules of engagement. Captain Chen was interviewed by Naval Institute Proceedings 3 months later, asked about the decision to pursue fleeing boat. The old policy was defensive. Wait until threatened, respond proportionally, try to de-escalate. That policy invited aggression, showed weakness. The new policy is different. You threaten a U.S. warship, You face immediate and overwhelming response. You don't get to retreat and try again tomorrow. You face consequences. Is this a permanent shift? I believe so. For years we absorbed provocations, tolerated harassment, let adversaries test us. That's over. This is the new standard. The strategic message resonated beyond the Persian Gulf. In the Taiwan Strait, Chinese naval commanders noted that American rules of engagement had changed. Aggressive maneuvers near U.S. warships now carried real risks. In the Black Sea, Russian naval forces became more cautious around American destroyers. The willingness to use force defensively was now demonstrated, not just theoretical. The April 13, 2024 engagement lasted nearly less than 7 minutes, but it reset deterrence dynamics across multiple theaters. The lesson adversaries learned: American restraint has limits. If we cross those limits, the response is devastating. The question the U.S. Navy proved it could answer: how do you stop a swarm attack without spending millions per kill? The answer Iran discovered: we can't challenge American warships anymore because they'll destroy us in under 7 minutes.